You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome to um, Celestial Finance Professional Network. Um, you're welcome to this our second online knowledge series. The third one, the last one we had was on the exec training part one. So we thought of having this section to build our personal and professional professional development as we are contributing to a company, contributing to wherever we are, we also need to understand the aspects of this. And then alongside, we'll be having this kind of training, this kind of knowledge sharing on the personal development, which is very much important. So while we are doing training on other core areas, like the hard skills, we also need to ensure that we work on our soft skills. So we are still expecting more people to join, so which I believe before our our guest speaker starts, then um, so don't be join. Okay, so you're welcome. And as we all know, this is Celestial Finance Professional Network is a group of young finance professionals where we come together on team to train ourselves, brainstorm together to the industry trend, and also develop ourselves, bringing in an expert to to teach us, learn from, and also uh, apply it to various aspects in life and working. So also we have a lot of tasks which we have assigned to ourselves. But trust me, with our cooperation, easily we can move together on this. Okay? So our vision and mission statement. I don't know. This our vision is to build a community of finance professionals who combine strong professional competence, excellence in service, and godly value, influencing the financial sector with integrity and lasting impact. So this is this is our vision as we are coming together. We all know that our weekly engagement is on the uh some issues in different companies. For example, uh we can have someone an industry like health industry, medical line, an accountant. So sharing his own knowledge about how he handles something can really help us to also develop ourselves and also bring ourselves together. Okay, so sorry, I think I need to, um, okay. So going forward, our mission is to promote our professionalism and excellence as a reflection of our identity. Our identity as a selected member is to, is known for godly, like the godly things, and then as we are working, we have earned a lot of professions, we are earned a lot of certifications. We also need to let this one reflect on our identity as a follower of Christ. So also keep members current with current industry trends, standards, and best practice. Also provide a platform for continuous learning and career growth. You can see these are the things we are bringing on board. Inspire and mentor and guide aspiring professionals towards certification. So these are missions as well. Going out there, people, bring mentor people and also people that are yet get their like direction as regards where to go and where to be. All right, the CFPN pillars of growth. We have six pillars, you all know, which align with our mission and vision. Number one is our monthly engagement as we are doing now, industry trend, career development, workplace excellence discussion, as well as we are doing now. The number two is symposium and training, technical, and ethical leadership workshop for all levels. So, because as you said, we have in our group, we all know that we have CFOs, we have our guys here too. We have our special advisor, you all know, Mr. Tosin Akikumi, who is the current chairman um, for Surulere district. So is our advisor, and our teacher father is Dr. Kunle meeting. So all these people are they are experts, experts, and then we all know that they are available for us anytime, any day. So expert section, sitting with professionals, CFOs, industry leaders, sharing wisdom as we are doing now. Network and support. We all know that the group is not just for to be, we share knowledge, we share opportunities, career guidance, and mutual growth. One of these days, we have to have an HR person on call to also guide us because some of us go for interview and then we don't really know what the company are requesting for. So we also there are some things we also need to look into. So we have a section with uh some HR. So and then we can bring them on call, ask questions, they will tell us what to do. And then so it can be September or October based on our to check our career our training calendar. So such outreach is very much important as well because that this is our long term goal. So it's something we need to get ourselves together before going out. So this is acquiring the student parities in finance related department. So these are our goals. So we are starting that very soon as everybody is trying to, work and everything now. So school section, as I said, tailor for individuals in commercial and finance field. So we spoke to one of guy in Electoral College at before. And, this Baba Odeyemi Church. So by grace of God, I'll be going there from maybe like first week in August. So before AYC, so that I will know their criteria of we coming in, and then we have a center section with the students. So while we are here as we understand that it is very important for us to look at some things very important that some people compromise, and they it's something that we need to look into because trust is not an option. It is the currency. Because as a finance professional, we have to stick to our word. And trust me, our facilitator here is not just is someone that I know very well. So and with our you know, um uh corporation here, trust me, we got to learn a lot. Got to learn a lot. So let's meet our facilitator. Let's meet our facilitator. Um Mr. Bakonjola Daniel Owotoke ACA and MBA. Mr. Bakonjola Daniel is a seasoned finance and sustainability and business transformation professional with over 10 years of cross-sector experience in helping growing and uh, regulated businesses strengthen their finance functions, internal controls, ESG reporting, compliance, and operational systems. An associate chartered accountant with an MBA in sustainability. Daniel has worked across diverse sectors, including oil and gas, FMCG services, technology services, energy and power, development, NGO, and financial services. He supports he supports organizations in developing and implement ESG framework, ISO system and audit, financial reporting process, internal control and compliance review, forensic investigation, supply chain process, and digital transformation initiative. He is a multidisciplinary expert, enable him to help organizations build stronger governance structure, improve operational efficiency, enhance regulatory compliance, and integrate sustainability into their business strategy for long-term growth and resilience. Uh, Folks, tell me as I welcome Mr. Makonjola Daniel, Auto PhD MBA, as he lead us to the section properly. Mr. Daniel, sir, over to you, sir. You can share your screen.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse, and then thanks everyone. Um, Without further ado, let us go straight into this session. So I'll just go ahead to share my screen. Please, can you guys confirm you can hear me?
Yes, yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, my screen will be on presentation mode. So if you need to call my attention, if you need to speak, you can just unmute and then probably maybe just go ahead to ask your question. But I'll just I think meeting is supposed to last for 1 hour. So I'll try to round up and I'll schedule this presentation for 45 minutes. I'll try to finish in 30 minutes so we can have at least ample time for questions. So my screen is on display. Can someone confirm they can hear me and see my screen too?
We can hear you, sir. We can also see a screen.
Okay. So this session, as you know, is building trust and integrity in the workplace. We'll be taking a deep dive into trust and integrity as a pillar of the finance profession. As we all know, this a profession as finance, a profession in finance is built on two pillars, which are trust and integrity. So, we all know, this is a gathering of finance professionals from different faiths. One or two of this content, and I put up one or two religious content, so I just would beg us to just concentrate on the key learnings and not the characters that are mentioned. So, like I said earlier, as finance professionals, our role stands on two pillars, which are trust and integrity. And we occupy a very sensitive position of trust. So all we do must be done with integrity, especially for those of us who find ourselves in the GRC space, like myself, that's in the governance, risks, and compliance space. Everything we do is actually a fallout of loss of trust and integrity. If everyone was to do what they ought to do, if trust has not been broken, if people are, if you have more people of integrity, I think someone like me, I won't even have a job. I could remember one time, probably I'll in scenarios from time to time to probably make this session as practical as possible. I could remember one time, I think it was after COVID, Elon Musk donated $1 billion, I think, to fight hunger across the globe. And then when I look at the stats, or when I looked at the data, I realized about 40% of that cost, imagine out of $1 billion, about 400 million of it is actually going to administrative cost. So what does that tell us? Ordinarily, if the world was actually what it is, probably maybe a normal 10% or 15% will have been enough for administrative cost. And even if we bring that back home, gone are days, if you could recall, back to the 80s, we really don't have auditors like we have them now. You just have one person run your account, and then the same person serves as both your accountant and auditor. But that is not the case now. Even best practice, they won't allow one person to be the accountant and another person to be the auditor. And that's because trust has been broken. And then it's not just a Nigerian pandemic. We look at compliance and then the global anti-money laundering landscape, and that would give us more insight into what the world is right now. So, like I said, this evening we want to look at make us understand and how we should treat our job as a way, as a platform for us to give back to the society, and then for us to understand the purpose and the impact of what we do as finance professionals to the society and not just Nigeria alone. So that is the purpose. So Jesse has actually read my bio, so there's no point dwelling on this too much. Years of experience across finance, audit, and then a track record of mentoring finance professionals towards career and certifications and then career goals. So I think I've talked a little about this. In a world where figures can be arranged and trust can be negotiated, the finance professional who keeps their word and their books honest is quite holding up the roof over everybody's head. So the purpose today is not just for us to see our role as a task, but also to see it as a calling and as a way of giving back to the society. So let us look at the bigger picture of what we do. You're not just preparing accounts, you're not just auditing statements. There are so many people who rely on what we do. So our role is a role of trust, and then we must act with integrity at all times. So tonight we will ask ourselves 3 questions. What does it mean to be trusted? What does it mean to serve where you are? And what happens to a society when the gatekeepers fail? We know that as accountants, we're actually gatekeepers, and then we should understand what role we play in business integrity and then in business ethics. So, and then we should also discover how a purpose-driven approach to work combined with excellence and integrity helps us to build trust, enhance credibility, and then set us apart as a trusted professional. So what in the next 45 minutes, where are we headed? We'll be looking at trust and integrity. That is the foundation of what is trust, and then why finance runs on it. Our role as our calling, that's reframing the decks, reframing the ledgers, and then audit files as a purposeful work. That is getting to know that what we do is actually purposeful. And then, like I said earlier, we'll be looking at the global anti-corruption landscape, the scale, the cost, the frameworks that are currently fighting back. And then lastly, we'll look at gatekeepers, that is the accountants and the professionals, why we are the checkpoints and what that demands of us. So building trust and integrity. This is like $1 million question. What is trust really? Trust is the confident reliance. Trust is the confident reliance on the character, ability, and the truthfulness of another. In finance, it is not just a soft sentiment, it's the operating currency of the entire industry. The industry we run on operates on trust. There's this saying from I'll go secular now, from Two-Face. He said, I know you cannot trust anybody, but you have to trust someone. Without trust, there is no business. Somebody has to be trusted. Somebody has to prepare that account. Sorry. Somebody has to be trusted. Somebody has to prepare that account. Somebody has to audit those accounts. And then you audit it, and then you provide assurance to a wide range of stakeholders to say that what you have reviewed is actually true, and then that they can actually rely on it. I'll give you a story. I think in my past, in a previous engagement, we caught somebody who was actually helping another company cheat the company. So what this guy does is, it's a distribution company. So what this guy does is, he helps them bypass their service point during the day, and then I think during the night, and then at very early in the morning, he goes back to disconnect it, and then he work all through the night. These figures were running into millions. And then when we caught the guy, he was sacked. And then he was without job. Somehow we know somebody who knows him, even down to his house. And then he went back to those same people that he was actually helping, for them to actually help him, and then probably they could help him with a job in their place. And the MD point blank told him to his face that we cannot trust you. You see the ripple effect. The same people he was actually helping, and then though it was actually for his personal gain, and then when he backfired and then he was caught, he went back to them, and then they told him that we cannot trust you. And then he was left without because he was dismissed, and then it was practically impossible for him to actually even get a job. I don't know how that guy is faring now. So we should understand, once trust is broken, it is very difficult to gain it back. So, like I said, no investor commits capital to a business whose numbers they do not believe. No regulator licenses a firm it cannot supervise with confidence. No client hands over life savings to an investor they cannot support. Like as finance professionals, behind those of us aspiring finance professionals, that will still have those that are in their early phase, beyond just the typical account role, beyond just the typical finance role, some of us might be investment bankers. Some of us might go into mutual fund management and all that. So no clients would actually hand over their life savings or their funds to an advisor they do not trust. So beyond just preparing accounts, beyond just auditing accounts, there are other areas in the finance profession. As we explore this profession, would then be exposed to some of those options and those some of those alternatives. And those are positions of trust. Those are professions that you need to build trust. You need to be a person of integrity before clients can actually trust you. So the foundation of trust, this is a simple framework which I tag this the trust equation. Trust is credibility plus reliability plus intimacy which is divided by self-orientation. All these parts, all these terms, all these concepts together, they make up trust. So what is credibility? Do your words and qualification, do they hold up to scrutiny? When people put your words through the lens of integrity, does it still mean the same thing? Reliability, do you consistently do what you said you would do? You have to be someone who says something and then it is exactly what you have said. So for intimacy, do people feel safe around you? Can they be candid with you? So intimacy, I would also call this confidentiality. As finance professional, we're exposed to numbers, we're exposed to high-level information, and then we have the obligation to be discreet at all times. As a finance professional, you're not expected to have loose mouth. You're not expected to disclose confidential information that are entrusted in your care. It is a no-no. And then the last, which is self-orientation, I call this your conviction. That is like in the four triangle. If those of us that are familiar with the four triangle is it's a triangle that explains why people commit fraud. There's a third factor, which is rationalization. Rationalization has to mean you giving yourself an excuse. That is giving yourself that conviction. So the three factors that I mentioned earlier, divided by yourself, that's your conviction. Whose interest are you really serving? Is it yours or theirs? All combines to help you build trust. So all this together actually explains or equates to your trust. If you're not founding, if you're able to build character around all these concepts that I've mentioned, you could be you can actually be seen as a person of integrity. You can actually say yes, that you can start earning people's trust. So we're still going deep into integrity. The word integrity shares its root from a Latin word, which is integer. Integer means to be whole and then undivided. The person of integrity is the same person both in the boardroom, in the audit file, in the offering basket, and even in the WhatsApp group. You're not a different person off work and a different person at work. There's this saying that you're either a man of integrity or you're not a man of integrity. Integrity has to be 100% at all times. It has to be consistent. You cannot, even if you cannot say you're 99.9% a man of integrity. It has to be 100 at all times. It has to be whole. It has to be undivided. You have to be the same person across different fields. Integrity is consistent. Integrity is the consistency between conviction and conduct. Like I said, whose interest are you serving? That, to a large extent, actually influences your conduct. What you believe in actually influences your conduct. It is what you do when no one else is watching. It is more difficult for you to still be the same person even when no one is watching. That is the biggest test of integrity. When the regulators are not watching, when your boss is not watching, when you know no one is watching you, for you to still be the same person. There's this former boss of mine used to say that one of the reasons why people will not steal is the fear of being caught. Now, when people think about what will go wrong if I was caught, that's one of the reasons why people don't steal. Can you still be the same person even when no one is watching you, when the trails are not there, when the trails are not there, even when the pressure is there, you still say, this is my conviction. My conviction is I am not going to take what does not belong to me. I am going to report fairly. I am not going to report what is not it, even when nobody is watching. Integrity cannot be departmentalized. The professional who cut corners at home really holds the line at work. Whoever is, this is coined from a Bible passage. It says, whoever is faithful in very little is faithful also in much. So why do finance professionals why is the weight of integrity and trust so heavy on finance professionals? Like I said earlier, we see what others do not see. We see bank statements, we see related party deal, cash flows the public never see. We certify what others rely on. An audit opinion valuation becomes the basis for decisions making worth billions. We are entrusted precisely where trust is the scarce. Like I said earlier, our position is a position of trust. Money, so we must act with integrity at all times. So we are entrusted with precisely where trust is the scarce. Like I said earlier, in the business environment and even in the professional environment, trust is one thing that is trust is one thing that we must give, and then integrity is one thing that is currently lacking. And that's why a trusted business, someone who can be trusted or someone who has integrity would actually bag more rules than any other person. So this is more like, these slides actually explain why we should treat our role as calling. Like I said earlier, we need to understand the way of what we do and then the impact it has on the larger society. The purpose is bigger than just your job title. The purpose of what we do. We often reserve the word purpose for extraordinary calling, for that healer, for that teacher, for that reformer. But purpose simply means service that is rendered faithfully in the place you have been positioned. So we need to understand positioning. Your desk is your platform, your ledger is your legacy. So purpose goes beyond just that calling, beyond that healing, and beyond that profession. Your purpose as an accountant is an extraordinary calling. You need to understand that purpose goes beyond whatever you do off work. It simply means that service that is rendered faithfully and in that place that you have been positioned. If your work is where you spend most of your working hours, it cannot be treated as an afterthought. You must be treated with that first calling mindset that, yes, this is where I get to serve the larger society. This is where I have that chance to impact my world. This is where I have that chance to impact my society. This is where I have that chance to show the world that, yes, I am a true Christian. I am a true believer. So like I said earlier, he that is faithful in the little will be treated with much. It's in that small reconciliation, that unglamorous checklist, that honest answer. And like I said earlier, integrity is what you do even when nobody is watching. So even when you don't get the desired applause, even when you don't get praise, but you still choose to protect everyone who actually relies on what you do. You choose to protect that stakeholder, you choose to protect the regulator. That is when you are tagged as a person of integrity. So, like I said earlier, we need to understand purpose. We need to understand our tasks that are day-to-day activity. We need to move from that task mindset to a purpose lens and purpose mindset. So this is looking at our day-to-day activities from both a tax mindset and a purpose mindset. When you look at when you're reconciling an account, for of us that are in core finance, you're seeing it from a purpose mindset. I'm guiding someone else's resources as if they were my own. So it is not, you're not just reconciling an account, you're guiding someone else's resources as though they were your own. You're not just signing off audit report, you're telling the truth so that others can make honest decisions. You're not just advising a client. So this relates more to those that might want to venture into investment banking, or those that are currently along paths that are related to investment banking. When you're advising a client on investment, your family values, you're not just closing a sales, you're not just reporting to a regulator, you're serving a wider public who will never see your name. You're not just mentoring junior colleagues, you're multiplying integrity in the next generation, just like what we're doing here. We're trying to multiply integrity into the next generation. There's this trend recently. I think the Olodoro crisis, those of us that are on social media, I think we must we follow the trend. And it's not just enough to criticize or probably criticize the space if we're not doing our bit, if we're not going the extra mile to mentor the next level, the next generation, to mentor those aspiring finance and professionals, those that are still in school, who are clearly aspiring to be like us. If we're not doing going the extra mile to multiply integrity, so that is more like seeing what we do from a purpose lens. So it's not just, you're not just mentoring a junior colleague, you're multiplying integrity. You're trying to build the next generation of professionals with integrity. We're trying to build the next generation of intellectuals. It is not just enough to criticize. We must take steps and make conscious efforts to try to 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 try to mitigate some of those things that we see. So this is just looking at the cost of divided life. And like I said, you should not be a different person at work and then you're a different person at the office. The divided professional, you treat ethics as a department, strict in professional life, flexible at work. In your personal life, you're very strict. You go to church, you go to your mosque, you pray. But when it comes to your professional life, you're flexible at work, you allow things pass. There's this common saying, workshop, you've carved a sub GL for yourself that you feed from. Some even go to church, they give testimonies even when they do these things. You don't just justify those small compromises as just these ones. You don't view the regulators as an obstacle or when you try to outmaneuver them. Looking at it from a professional lens, you carry the same standard everywhere, no off switch for integrity. You treat every entry, every disclosure as a form of witness. You view regulation as a shared shield for public goods, not just for, you view every regulatory compliance as a shared shield for not just the company, but for public goods and the larger society. So we'll look at the global anti-corruption landscape. Like I said earlier, trust is one thing that is lacking in the world we are right now, and integrity is actually scarce. So we'll just look at the global anti-corruption landscape. So what is corruption? Corruption, Transparency International defines corruption as an act as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. I take it again. Transparency International defines corruption simply as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. So when you doctor those figures for your private gain, that is corruption. So these are different types of corruption. We are looking at bribery, payment to influence a decision or a process, embezzlement, diverting entrusted funds for personal use, financial statement with fraud, and then we're looking at money laundering. I think at this phase, it is clear that I differentiate between bribery, facilitation, payment, and then gifts, so that we don't confuse each of them. Some organization, okay, I think bribery is clear, which is a payment to influence a decision or a process. Why facilitation? Bribery is given in context where something that will make somebody do what they will ordinarily not do. Do you get something that you ordinarily not do? Maybe you have 3 vendors, and then you see a vendor with a cheaper quote, and then the vendor with the right technical competence. Then you now ignore that vendor to give to somebody else. That is bribery. Why facilitation is more like something that somebody would ordinarily do for you, something that somebody was supposed to do for you. Then you are now tipping the person. Do I say tips? No, it's actually not it. You're paying the person to do what they ordinarily do for you, something that they are obligated to do for you, like a government official. You want to get maybe a document from a government office. By virtue of what they do, they're actually supposed to do it for you. Then you're now paying that person. That is facilitation payment. Both of them are wrong. Then the third, which is gifts. Some organization would actually frown at gifting. They will tell you point blank in your gifts and entertainment policy, do not give or take gifts, while some will cap it at a certain amount. So I think it is clear why we're trying to be ethical, so we understand, so that we don't miss out on certain things. If your policy allows within a certain threshold, most organizations would always spell it out. This is what you can take. This is what you cannot take. If you take this, this is how you should treat it. You understand? Why, if your policy is silent, I think we better know how to treat those situations. If your policy is silent. And I think a rule of thumb here is that if you know that the gift would actually make you do what you will not do, or you're in the process of probably maybe paying a vendor, or probably, or it will make you do something that would actually go against your principle and your belief, please turn down the gift. I don't know if this is clear. So I just went ahead. I just wanted to differentiate between bribery, facilitation, and then gift so that we know how they all relate and then how they interwoven, and then we know the difference between each of them. So looking at the global anti-corruption landscape in picture and then in numbers, they said this are actually reports of Transparency International. Transparency International is a global anti-corruption reporter. They report corruption perspective interest across, I think they have about 182 countries that they assess annually, view the state of corruption in those nations. And then they said 42, and I think the score is always around over 100. The lower you score, the more corrupt that jurisdiction or country is. Why the higher you score, the less corruption, and it simply at the end, it simply means that jurisdiction or that country is less corrupt. So they said 42 over one. So the global average score on the 2025 corruption perspective index. Sorry, the global score on the 2025 corruption index is at its lowest. That is 42. That's the global average of all 122 countries that was done in 2025. The average is at 42, which is even less than 50%. So you see that it is not just a Nigerian problem, it's a global problem. Trust has been broken at different levels, and then integrity is one thing that is scarce. So it's not just a Nigerian problem. Then 68% of the 182 countries assessed scored below 50, just like what I said, signaling serious public sector corruption, not just public sector, but both in private sector. Of the 182 countries assessed, only 50%, okay, sorry, of the 182 countries assessed, 50 of them scored below 50, which signals serious public sector. Then only 5 out of those countries scored above 80, which is down from 12, I think a decade ago, 10 years ago, when this survey or when this research was done, about 12 countries still scored above 80. Now we just have 5 countries that are actually around, that are actually above that mark. So bringing it closer to Nigeria, the 2025 corruption perspective index, Nigeria scored 26. We are 142nd of 182. So, like Trump said, we are actually a country of particular concern. So the score has remained unchanged for 2 years, well below the global average of 42. We're even below the global average of 42. EFCC and the ICPC asset recovery in Nigeria and 2025. Let's not dwell too much on this. So we understand the jurisdiction and then how what corruption is like in Nigeria and then our whole. So what is the real cost of corruption when you look away? These are the real costs of corruption: underfunded public goods. We have depressed investment, erosion of the rule of law, and then a human, not just a physical tool. So these are some of the real costs of corruption. I think we're pressed with time, so I'm trying to round up soon. So these are just the real cost of corruption. This slide will be shared with us. We can look at it some other time. So, like, who are those organizations that are actually fighting, and then those standard setters that are actually ensuring that trust is rebuilt, and then trust is rebuilt, and then businesses can begin to rely on each other for more transactions to happen. So recently, I think I saw a post on LinkedIn, and then he was talking about the Nigerian business environment, and he said Nigeria is not actually lacking capital, and Nigeria is not lacking human resource. That what we lack is actually trust, and I think I agree with that. Even those of us that actually have maybe friends abroad, or we have siblings abroad, we know that most of them even have funds that they want to invest in Nigeria. Probably they want to start 1 or 2 micro SMEs or 1 or 2 businesses. But even those of us that are actually in regular 9 to 5, we have 1 or 2 side hustles that we actually have 1 or 2 funds that we want to start that might want to invest somewhere, probably maybe to start a shop and or maybe start a side business, but we actually don't know who to actually even trust to manage these businesses. So we rather choose to probably maybe just continue keeping this money in our savings, or probably maybe just invest in some sort of financial investment and all that. So trust is one thing that is lacking, not just in Nigeria. And then these are some of the guys that are actually trying to build trust globally. We have the UN Convention Against Corruption, the leading global legal framework, which is ratified by nearly every country in the world. Then we have the Financial Action Task Force, which is FATF. They set global standards on anti-money laundering and then counter-financial terrorism. Then we have the OECD and the Corruption and Bribery Convention, and then we have our national bodies, the Nigerian EFCC and then the ICPC. Though we have our reservations, but that is a story for another day. And then a lesson that history keeps repeating, like I said, it really starts big, small misstatements, tolerated ones becomes the template for the next quarter. Silence has co-authors. The correction is brutal. So these are lessons that history keeps repeating. It really starts big, it starts small. We as gatekeepers, that little silence means we are co-authors. So we need to understand how we enable some of these things, and then how we can, if we want a better society, how we can contribute to having a better society. So what are the lessons for gatekeepers and accountants? Why the finance professionals sit at the checkpoints for these illicit funds, and why the demand for us is high? So we are gatekeepers, like I said. Gatekeepers are professionals who choose, who signs off, who certifies or facilitate movements of funds and public false figures. These false stuff, they pass through us, and then they pass through us to enter the legitimate financial institution. So we don't want, let us not go deep into this, but we know that we are gatekeepers, not just us. We have lawyers, who are bankers, company secretary, compliance officers, and then investment advisors who are also gatekeepers. It's not just about closing deals. It's not just about signing, preparing those accounts. We should understand that what we do impacts on the larger society, not just the society, and then on public goods too. So the checkpoint theory, like I said earlier, illicit money is far easier to intercept at the handful of trustful checkpoints like us. The accountants who book it, the banker who moves it, the auditor who certifies it. We all choose. So this is how we enable this stuff. And then if it is not stopped at this level, it is difficult to stop at any other level. So this is precisely why the global regulation is increased on us who are professionals and not on the criminals. So we understand that we are the first line of defense. We are entrusted with a handful of trusted activities. It should speak in the accounts we prepare. It should speak in whatever audit reports we issue, and then it should speak in almost everything we do. So what duties? So our duties that protects the public. We should exercise professional skepticism. We should question documents and seek for explanation rather than just accept them at face value. Apply professional skepticism, have that curious mindset, want to know the details behind every transaction. We should know our clients. We should ensure due diligence, understand the true beneficial owner and then the source of funds behind every engagement. We should recognize red flag, unusual pattern, reluctance to disclose ownership, transaction with no business rationale. And this is the duties we owe the public. We hold that duty of care as finance professionals, as auditors, as investment bankers, whichever side of the finance professions we find ourselves, we owe the public that duty of care. We should report and escalate, filing suspicious activities report, and then refusing to be silent or witness to wrongdoings. So when the gatekeepers fails, and then when we hold the line, this is what happens when we fail, and then when we hold the line, what are the benefits, and then what do we expect to see? When we sign off the numbers, when we sign off numbers that we know, this is what happens when we fail. We sign off numbers even when we know that they are wrong to keep clients' relationship. We treat compliance as paperwork rather than protection. We rationalize silence as not my department, as not my concern. So what happens and what should we do going forward? Say no to engagement that doesn't withstand scrutiny, escalate concerns even when it's costly or unpopular, treat every certification as a promise to the public and not just a client. Like I said, we owe the public a duty of care. So what can Cfpn members commit to? What can we commit to doing? We have commit to staying current, keep the pace with standard, ethics, and evolving regulation. Ignorance is not a defense. Mentor the next generation. I think I spoke a little about this. Model integrity for young professionals coming through and Cfpn. We are the mirror that the next generation will see. Speak up early, raise concerns while they are small, report to the proper channels before they become crisis, and then treat our decks as a purpose. We should understand the purpose of what we do and then the impact it has on the society. Bring the same conscience to that ledger, to your work, the same conscience that you bring to the rest of your life, the same conscience you take to church, take it to work. And then corruption is defeated not first in the courtroom, but in the quick decision of the professional who choose the harder and honest path when no one is watching. Like I said, integrity is not integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. If your role is your first calling, then building trust and integrity is not just a career strategy, it's an expression of who we are. So I think we've come to the end of this session. I hope I've been able to impart knowledge in this short while. Thank you all for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Dan. Thank you so much. Can we just let's just I want to start our emoji in terms of clapping emoji. Thank you. Let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Dan, thanks so much. And also we can as well put it in our chat box. Yeah, sorry. We can put it in our meeting chat and appreciate him. So just let's put it in our chat box. I'm still waiting. It's a wonderful, wonderful time like this. It's a wonderful session. Can we just put it in our chat box? Just say thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Let's just put it in our chat box. I'm still expecting. I think Sister Maria Paul also is typing. I'm still expecting others to also to type. Okay, thank you so much. As we are expecting others to also send their chat. So it's a wonderful time like this. So thank you so much. Uh,
Sorry,
uh
Jesse. I think there's a
yeah,
part I missed. Let me just quickly
okay,
take it. So I think I skipped it
okay.
because I didn't read my bio. If you can see my screen,
We can
this
check.
is this third one. This is a principle that guides me as a person. So we need to understand a conviction. I have a conviction that competence and character are not competing values; they are complementary values. What do I mean? Your competence and your character should go hand in hand. They are complementary. One should not be traded for the other. This is my conviction, and I think it's a conviction that every finance person or everyone on this call should go with. Your competence and your character should not be traded for the other. So there's this I would explain this with there was with a recent, I think I saw that post on LinkedIn. Two coppers were actually serving in a particular organization, and then I would name the first one copper A and then copper B. Copper A is actually very respectful, has very respectful, always punctual, and then she's actually likable and respects everybody, relates with everybody on the same level. While copper B is the opposite of it. The flip side of it is now that copper B is very resourceful. You give her a task, she kills it even before the deadline. While copper A still struggles, though she might not. She has character. She's very respectful, very down to earth, and also teachable. But she's actually not up to speed with copper B. And then upon when they finished service, and then there was a call for them to retain one of the two of them, and then one of them, and then opinions were sought from everybody in the organization. And then lo and behold, ordinarily, everybody would say they should go for Copper B. But that did not turn out to be the case. Almost everybody rooted for Copper A. Why? Because, yes, I'm not saying we should compromise competence, but I just want us to see why character is important. Everybody went for Copper A. They even volunteer to bring Copper A up to speed. Some even volunteer to organize catch-up sessions, mentor sessions, whatever it will take to bring Copper A up to speed, so that she can actually get, and that was how she was retained. So we need to go with this conviction. One should not suffer for the other. Competence and character are not competing value. They are complementary value. So I think this is one thing I want us to leave here with. You should understand that competence and character are not competing value. You should not trade competence for character. You should not trade character for competence. I've seen instances where they left somebody with character and they went for somebody with competence. So you can either fall each way. So, but the professional who has both, who is actually good, who is actually technically sound, and then who is also not found wanting in character, would actually lead, will actually stand out any day, anytime. This is one thing I want us to live with as we go. Thank you, Mr. Jesse.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I believe the uh as for me, I've learned a lot too, and it- it's very very much important for us to key into that, both being competent and also maintaining a good character. So I because of time, and then I believe we might have some questions to ask. So if you can just, if you want to ask questions, you can just unmute your mic, or you can raise your hand. So we can also, because of time, and then if you can't, maybe because of background noise, you can just put it in the chat box, within chat, and we can address it on time. So we have just 5 minutes for that. So yes, please, question. Have any question? I believe we have a lot of questions to ask. Question, please. Expecting us to have question, or maybe based on some uh engagement in our work and something like that. So you want to have a question on maybe something is not clear to you, how you want to go about it. Yes, we're still waiting, please. What of time? Please, can you confirm if you can hear me, please? Just confirm. Maybe my, I don't know, because of this rain.
Yes, Jesse, we can hear you.
Okay, okay, boss. Okay, boss. So, are we saying that all that we have heard today is clear to us, and then we because it's beyond calculations, it's beyond what we do. It's something that is a daily lifestyle, the daily lifestyle that uh we have to put in our bed. There was this thing that our pastor said something that when a gatekeeper fails, eh, and when they hold their line, so there are two different things here. And the gatekeeper are when they compromise their professional like duties, ignore warning sign and allow pressure from management, colleague, or anything to override their ethical judgment. Hmm? It's something that we need to look into, because every private organization uh has this thing, but it's very rare to see people that can sustain it. So it's something that we need to. Okay, I've seen someone is just like a friend. So uh he was asked to prepare a very huge account statement and sign. So because of the integrity, the guy have to resign. The guy have to resign because it's not part of. Because if you put that signature on that account, definitely in years to come, they will reference to that this person had to so because of this or that and that. So we are meant to protect our our ethical judgment. ethical judgment. So, I don't know if there's other thing we want to talk about, but I really want us to keep the time. Although we started 6:10, so we still have like 8 minutes.
So,
Uh,
so I'll drop my WhatsApp number on the platform. If you have any questions subsequently, you can always reach out or reach out to me on LinkedIn,
okay.
whichever works. So you can always reach out to me if you have any question. I would be back maybe one of these days. And I think when Jesse reached out to me, we had other things that I wanted to that I had in mind. But on the second thought, I thought this is actually the foundation on which the finance profession is built. So it's need for us. There's every need for us to set the right context. So before we go in deep into stuff around internal control and compliance generally, or maybe deep dive into finance, I'll be back with some technical section. But I just feel this is where we need to be right now so that we can actually set the right context so that we know the why behind what we do and then what the business environment is currently. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
Abdulrahim.
Ibrahim. Yeah. Listen.
All right. Yeah, Mr. Daniel, thank you very much. Mr. Jesse, thank you so much. It was a very insightful session. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah, we
we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Yeah, that was a very insightful session, and I mean, well appreciation. All right. So my question, I, okay, I have a question. I also have a comment. Right now, I understand the fact that as finance professionals, integrity is like key, like is indispensable, right? And beyond the fact that um we owe allegiance to our profession, right? To secure integrity, to secure. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm at the most. Sorry. So
Okay.
like I said, we understand that as finance professionals, we owe allegiance to our professions first. I mean, when I'm sure when, well, maybe for chartered accountants, maybe when you are inducted as a professional, you swear a kind of oath, to say that you always, uphold the tenets of finance, which is integrity, securing the assets of the company, being faithful to your organization and all of those, right? However, we seem to, experience some conflicting interests later in the labor market when we are practicing hands-on. What do I mean by this? I mean, in situations whereby, a conflicting integrity action, comes from the top to bottom. A lot of times, we want to understand that there's a conflicting interest between you being sincere to your profession and you being sincere to your company. What do I mean? Most of the time, you will understand that you owe your allegiance to the company first. I mean, to your employer, as your primary, deliverables, basically. So your employer tells you to do this. A lot of times, maybe against what your profession will ordinarily recommend, right? So there is a need to, to strike a balance between, delivering based on, this integrity value and basic requirements from your company, which is of course instructions from maybe top management authorities. Now, I mean that's just a background to my question. Now, my question now is, what's the tendency, or what's the what what's the simplest possibility that a lot of times when there is a conflicting demand from your profession.
When you confront this issue, what do you do, right?
No, I mean, I'm coming. Of course, that's also part of the question. But however, at what point should you walk away? In fact, that's exactly what my question is. I mean, a lot of times, the last thing to do is to say that, okay, I can't deliver. I mean, I can't rub off my integrity with respect to the requirement from my boss, right? But now I want to move on. When exactly is the time to walk away? And what are the things that must have been pushed forward, as preachment, as daily reminders, as reference to the standards, of course, to the management, to your company, which is your primary, you know, how do I put it? Your primary allegiance holder, at the end of the day. So at what point, I mean, how many times of reminder, how many cycle of thoughts, how many cycle of meeting of reminder of standard should you do, before the point when you say that, okay, I'm turning back or I'm moving on? I don't know if you understand my question, sir.
I get you perfectly. So I would explain this with we all are accountants and we understand the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance, right? That's a typical example. Tax avoidance means you're planning your activity in such a way that you minimize tax. Why tax evasion is we don't want to pay at all. Probably maybe. So looking at both, if one is asking you to plan, I'm just using that as an example. Oh. If you're in an organization where we want to be smart, we want to take advantage of some of the we want to take advantage of some of the loopholes in, I'm just saying it to actually make our tax minimal. You understand that yes, this is still within, it is not a crime, and then the person is not asking you to do something out of the moon. But when somebody is coming to tell you, let us evade tax, we don't want to pay, you should understand that these are the signs. These are some of the signs. This is a typical example of the signs you should see. While you need to hold forth, maybe probably I understand, maybe you might do for those of us that have families, you have family at home to feed, probably maybe you don't even have enough buffer. That is the right time to start looking elsewhere. And the minute you find one, exit. But while you're still there, those of us that are Christians, we understand what Pontius Pilate did when Jesus Christ was crucified. He washed his hand off, though that does not exonerate him. There's a way to wash your hand off every transaction. Why am I saying this? Beyond when you start cooking figures, some things might involve criminal proceedings. It might get to a certain level that it might not just be an administrative or civil action that might involve criminal proceedings. Would you want to go jail for another person's business? Go to jail. Would you want to go to jail for another person's business? So at that, so you should understand these are some of the signs. You might start looking elsewhere, look for something, and then the minute you get, move on. And I would encourage us, do your due diligence. Though I know you cannot be all careful, but do your due diligence before you go to any organization. And like I said, wash your hand of every transaction. When I was in the bank, you know how fast-paced bank can be. There's this colleague of mine, and then you're expected to do certain due diligence before you pay a check. Anytime any of our superior comes to her, pay this check, you know what she does? Though the superior, because she's actually the final approver, and then she has a lower officer to actually initiate the transaction, and then she approves. She'll be like, madam, it is not like I cannot pay, but madam, can you sign? And typically, this is laws that keep, and then the woman will just run away from the transaction and take it to somebody else. She wash her hand off every transaction. Tomorrow, if anything comes, this is your approval. This is when they pull out the check. This is on whose authority I paid off. She has washed her hand off the transaction. Do you get? So beyond just doing it, we should be very smart. Somebody who can ask you to cut corners. When the chips are down, the person will deny you. You get? When the chips are down, the person will deny you. When somebody who is asking you to do certain things, when the chips are down, maybe when it gets into a certain level, the person will deny you. And then even if he doesn't, you guys are into it together. My advice is know the triggers. There are specifics that are permitted that are lawful. But when they ask you to start going against certain, if you want to hold forth, start looking forward, look for somewhere else. And the minute you get, just your listening and then move on. Because it goes beyond just administrative duties. Some might actually involve legal criminal proceedings. Would you want to go to jail for somebody else's business? So Abdul, I think I hope I've been able to do justice to your.
Okay. For that, thanks so much. Abdul, do you get that? Do you get the response? Okay, maybe it's not fast enough for phone now. Okay. So I believe that this particular topic has its own particular aspect of it, which is something that every one of us is experiencing that in it, where we are working. So it's a practical something, and I believe that uh, we can we can learn. So please, as I said, because of time, I will drop Mr. Daniel LinkedIn information on this group chat and also on our WhatsApp page. So if you want to have any questions, you can relate directly to him and also his number as well, contact. So please, I drop a form on this chat board for us to just a 2 minutes or something for us to just fill and see section how we can improve on our section. Um, Mr. Dan, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. And the important information here is that um, can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Oh, okay, okay. So, important information here is that what we are, what we we stand on as our pillar of growth is our, most our fifth pillar. As I said, these are things that we are doing: training, symposium, expert questions, and as an accountant or as a finance professional, and also there are updates about our standard that we need to also understand. That we need to understand. So there are tactics and everything. So it's led step by step. So we can go for this section. We can open our mind in terms of preventing ourselves or the ethical values and all trust and also others. So the important aspect is please, can you see my screen, the update on my screen? It's coming up.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Oh, okay, okay. So as you can see, our upcoming training alert is about IFRS 18. So beyond IS1, so navigating the new era of financial reporting. As we all know that this is by 2027, we have a new standard that will guide our financial reporting from the way it was before. So by this, we need to understand how we can prepare ourselves, how we can guide ourselves, and how even though if your job is not like maybe you are the one preparing the account, as a financial person, you need to know what is like the trend and the updates about your standard in the company or in Nigeria or as a nation at large. So this is our next training coming up on 25th of July by 7:30 to 9 p.m. So please, these are things that we need to keep ourselves, doing as we have worked from Friday, Monday to Friday. We also need to learn, learn with people, network yourself. By doing that, you are expanding, things, and then, uh, and I said other time that this is not where we have to come and go like that. We have to just let network as well. So you are from which company, you are from which company, from there, opportunities will come, opportunities will come. So, this is our next upcoming training. Let's do well to plan. Details and other information will be shared accordingly before Monday to also start preparing. So, folks, I want to appreciate everyone. Mr. Dan, thank you so much for your time. Even though it's a short notice from the end, you still take it time to work, to prepare and then give us the best. I know you have a lot for us, but without little time, you still give us the best. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for our time. Thank you for joining. Thank you for time. Although as it's raining everywhere now, some of us are still online. It shows the heart of growth. So thank you everyone. I think we need to bring the spirit to the close, and then we meet again in our next meeting. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. Mr. Dan, thank you so much. Dr. Fire, thank you. Mr. Sarah, thank
Thank you,
you.
TC.
Yeah, bro. Olasukomi. Thank you. Abdul. Thank you. Rosa Kari. Thank you. Akinbua Olariwaju Ogami. Thank you so much for time. We meet again by next training. Thanks everyone. Also, please help us to fill the form. Help us fill the form. Let's know where we can improve in our subsequent training. Thank you everyone.